Today's collectible spot, we are having a look at the Star Ace Harry Potter Severus Snape 1/6 scale collectible action figure. This figure, I believe, is currently on pre-order with a release at the end of this month or in April of 2016. It's basically like March to April of 2016. It comes to us from the Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince line, and of course comes to us from the folks over at Star Ace who have already released a ton of super awesome 6-scale figure releases of the Harry Potter figure line. The front of the package features Severus Snape, or Alan Rickman. So sad to see the passing of Alan Rickman. He was one of my favorite actors growing up. Even though I may not necessarily will remember him as Snape, I certainly always remember him as Hans Gruber in Die Hard, and of course he was the very awesome Sheriff of Nottingham in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. So when I think Alan Rickman, I generally think Alan Rickman from those movies, and then of course I just loved Harry Potter after the fact, that it was really cool that he was part of that too. The front of the box though, and really the new box style that Star Ace are now doing with their figure releases, I think I like this line, this box design, just a little bit more than when they were releasing the initial line, where it kind of had that marbled kind of image, and then you had the little character on the side. This really presents itself extremely well, and of course, Alan Rickman's passing, it's a nice tribute to finally get this guy in figure treatment form. As for the back of the box, we've got Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince from my favorite movie series 1/6 scale collectible action figure. Product code SA0022, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, Severus Snape. You can also head over to Star Ace as well. Their address indicated down below, www.starace.com.hk. With Star Ace's new packaging, it's a little bit different than the original ones that we were getting. The front artwork here slides off, just like a can of cranberries. It slides right off. There we go. And you got Severus Snape, his loads of accessories, and more underneath. Spot's going to take himself a bit of a break. When we come back, however, we're going to get a better look at the Star Ace Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince Severus Snape 1/6 scale collectible action figure. There's more anyway, guys. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. With Mr. Severus Snape, the first thing we'll have a look at is this oval-shaped display stand that comes with the figure. A considerable departure from some of the other Harry Potter figures that we had a look at. If you remember, a lot of those were clear display stands, and then they had the post on the top that you could adjust the necks to. Severus Snape, however, gives us a little more traditional 6-scale figure stand. There's no Harry Potter or anything indicated on the top, and we've only have a front placard here that features Severus Snape. It does have an adjustable neck, however, so you can adjust it depending on how you want to display the figure. I like almost like the pristine cleanless. I almost prefer the pristine kind of simplicity that this display stand brings. Not overly complicated, just enough that the figure's going to stand on top. And I do like the fact that the front placard features his name. So having a look at the figure itself, Snape is wearing a dark purple coat, which almost kind of looks on camera more like black, but if you see the contrast of that to the professor's robe, it does look like a shade lighter. Almost it does appear more purple by contrast to the black here. But he is wearing a pair of black trousers. He's got some black shoes on there as well, and a very large, very long professor's robe with long sleeves, and he's also got the long train in the back. Getting a look at the figure's head now, I feel like it's almost sad, the fact that we are looking at a Snape figure with the passing of Alan Rickman. I can only hope that he had a chance to see this final produced figure before his passing, because I really think that Star Ace has done a true service to the actor. It really does look a lot like Snape here. From the side, maybe not as much, but certainly front on, you can really see Snape in the expression. And by expression, he really doesn't have much in the way of expression, but for that matter, he really didn't have much in the way of expression in the movies either. He's got his long black hair, which also has been sculpted just as nicely as the face itself. And I've mentioned this on a couple of occasions. I'll mention it again in this review. One thing that Snape or one thing that Star Ace does extremely well, also prevalent here on Snape, is a really great paint job. They're one of the all-stars, it seems, when it comes to giving a really realistic flesh tone, especially around the areas such as his eyes, which tend to be a little bit darker gray than the rest of his skin complexion. Yes, potentially I could be a little biased towards the paint and sculpt of the figure because I'm such a fan of, Mr. Rickman and all the works that he's done in movies, but I do think this is one of Star Ace's better releases. It just really does an outstanding job of capturing the likeness of the character. Maybe not necessarily his expression, because again, Snape's expression in the movie was very neutral, basically on par with the face here. Just one thing to note though about his outfit, especially around the sleeve areas, there appears to be a wire frame that's been stitched into the length of the sleeve. Basically from the top section where the sleeve opens up all the way down, there is a wire frame in it, so you can manipulate it to some extent depending on how you want to have the figure displayed. If the professor robe also isn't to your liking, you can go ahead and take the robe completely off. For that, you don't really require to take the hands off or anything in that nature. You can easily remove the robe quite easily, showing you the dark purple coat underneath. Multiple buttons running down the sleeve area there, buttons running down the front. This also is Velcro, so you can open this up as well. And he's got his white shirt underneath and somewhat tie. I guess that would still be considered a tie. A better look at his trousers and his black shoes down below. Look-wise, I'd be probably more inclined to either display Snape with the dark robe, the dark purple robe here, or I would have the professor's robe, him wearing that professor's robe as well. But also too, like the stitch work on the jacket is very nicely done. These are not real pockets, but they do simulate a real pocket look to them. I think, again, fabric-wise, costume-wise, I have no concerns, no issues whatsoever. Okay, so now it's time to have a look at some of the accessories that come included with Severus Snape. He includes 3 test tubes of different colors, a red, a green, and yellow, all suspended inside this test tube rack. The test tubes are removable, but I mean, you could have them holding some of the test tubes, but really they serve a better purpose, if you ask me, by displaying them in the rack themselves. He also comes with a potion bottle, and indicated on the pre-order release of Snape, this is the Polyjuice potion bottle. Now it cannot fit into the areas of the test tube rack, obviously due to the nature of it being more of a square-shaped bottle. You can kind of see also how they paint it. They paint it basically from the inside, I guess from the inside out. It's not completely filled or any in that nature. It is see-through, it is hollow, but it does simulate a pretty good look that there's actually a liquid inside the bottle. Snape also gets himself a candle with handle, obviously noted there as well, a handle that's included. It does not light up. It almost looks like it would have lit up, but there was no indication of a battery switch or anything on the underside. Also comes with a cauldron, a very small cauldron. The handle also can be lifted and raised. For its size, there's a good bit of weight also to the cauldron. Paint very nicely done. It looks like it would be a metal cauldron, but again, it's just a plastic accessory. Kudos again to Star Ace. Fantastic paint job. For displaying purposes, the cauldron also comes with a cauldron stand. It's not overly large, it's just enough to accommodate the cauldron. And I guess presumably you could have the candle underneath, as you can see right there. One of these days, or maybe I could look online, I'd like to get myself, a couple of 6-scale wooden tables. I mentioned this before with, trying to think of who it was it Hermione? That for all the cool accessories that they come with, like Snape for example, the rack of test tubes, the cauldron stand, and the books and everything else, it would be nice if maybe at one point they released like an accessory kit that comes with a couple of wooden tables, something that you could prop the things onto. If not, I'll just check maybe online in aftermarket, see if maybe I could get myself like a 6-scale recreation of a wooden table that I could display things like such the cauldron, the test tube rack. I could actually put those on the table and then I could present them behind the figures. I think that would look really well. Really good on display, because as it stands right now, a lot of these accessories would ultimately just kind of sit around the feet area of the 6-scale figures. He also comes with, I believe, a stirring stick, which is just ultimately like a clear rod. He comes also with a book, Advanced Potion Making. And this touches back to what I was mentioning earlier. Great that they come with books, great that they come with cauldrons and test tube racks and all that kind of stuff. But how awesome would it be to get a little table or a little bench or a little bookshelf or something that fits the scale of a 1/6 scale figure, and that you could put all this stuff onto. It's just an idea, but I think something like that could certainly go a real long way. Maybe, as a suggestion, maybe some of the smaller characters from Harry Potter that maybe wouldn't justify a full 6-scale figure release of their own, maybe a lot of those could come with furniture. Like if you have the smaller dwarves or the smaller characters from the Harry Potter movies, give them like a bookcase, give them like a table, give them something that you're getting not only just for the figure, but you're also getting for some of the other figures that we've been collecting all this time as well. Lastly, Snape does come with a wand. And like some of the other figure releases as well, he comes with a magical attachment, magical flash effect that you can add to the wand itself. I think in the case of Snape, I probably would just display him with the robe on, and I probably would just have him holding the wand. Maybe not necessarily this would be a case where I would incorporate the magical effect, but I certainly appreciate any time a company like Star Ace can incorporate it with accessories. Finally, Star Ace gives you a pair of extra hands. Currently, Snape has kind of more relaxed, flat palms, but he also comes included with, more appropriately, a wand-holding hand. And again, a wand that would be probably suited for holding a book, or, maybe I think it's a little too big for like a test tube, but you could maybe manipulate the bottle into his hand, or I'm trying to think of maybe like the candle. You could display in his hand. If anything, I probably would be using this hand more than anything else to display the wand with. For Severus Snape's articulation, his head is on a ball joint, and it's actually ball jointed on the cavity section where the head sits into the neck. And then he's got a secondary ball joint that attaches the neck socket to the rest of the torso. In this form, with the purple jacket on, he's not restricted at all in posability on the arms. It gets a little tighter when you move the arms forward, yes, or when you move the arms back, a little bit more forward, but the arms move out, no issues whatsoever there. He has a swivel point in the bicep area, double hinged elbows, rotation in the hand. I feel like the likeness is so good on him, I feel like I'm actually manipulating a smaller Alan Rickman here. He has a crunch in the top torso section, also has a waist swivel. And as for leg movement, legs move forward, back, and out. He has a top swivel cut in the thigh, double hinge knees. And finally, he has not only a rotation in the foot, but it can slightly pivot up and down. Not a lot, but just enough. Since Star Ace's entry into the realm of Harry Potter 6-scale figures, there are two figures that I've been really anxious to see. An older Harry Potter, which we've kind of already gotten, and a Severus Snape. As Spot already mentioned, Alan Rickman was one of my favorite actors. He's kind of an unknown actor, not in the sense that he hasn't done enough movies, but certainly as a kid to say, oh, my favorite actor, one of my favorite actors is Alan Rickman. He's not maybe saying as a kid, oh, my favorite actor is Arnold Schwarzenegger, or my favorite actor is Sylvester Stallone, but I always really liked Alan Rickman. And finally, to kind of see what Star Ace has done with this figure, I think it's kind of a real tribute to the actor himself. This figure has turned out incredible, and it's easily one of my favorites from the 6-scale figures that they've certainly been releasing over this amount of time. They will certainly be releasing a lot more, but to me, The crown jewel of my collection of the Harry Potter figures is Severus Snape right here. As Spot had mentioned, I believe Snape is currently on pre-order for a release of March to April 2016. If you are a fan of Harry Potter, I definitely would say, if you get a chance, pick this guy up. You will not be disappointed. Today's collectible spot, we were having a look at the Star Ace Harry Potter, and we're looking today at the 6 scale figure release, finally, of Severus Snape. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have more collectible spots heading your way. As always, thanks for watching. See you next time.